Module 1.9, phone screen. So here we are at the step of phone screen, which is among the very first interview you can have with a candidate. And basically, it's the screening to know if you are even looking for the same thing, if it will be working, a match, if you go further in the process. And this is where basically there's a lot of filtering with the candidates. If it's yes, no, this is one of the biggest steps. So that's why it's really important, I think, at this step that the team lead is involved, because you are the one to have the best vision of who you want to work with and who will define as well a certain dynamic in the team for the rest of the group you already have. And I want to share in this section my top questions in the phone screen. So my first one, favorite one, is what I call push and pull. How do you move from a job to another? So through this question, I really want to understand, and not necessarily having the person going over the CV and listing what they've done, but I want to understand the motivation they had, their own story when they joined a certain place, and what was the point of the transition they have to move to the other place, and so on, and why today they want to move again. And this is the place where I find interesting because it tells a lot about the person, about what are the drivers, what are the motivations, what are the things that maybe they try to stay away from that made them leave, you know. So you understand a lot through these stories, what are the transition points between jobs. And then my other question is about career motivation. What are you looking for in your future jobs? So here I want to understand what is important, what does the person value in a job? Is it, for example, I heard certain candidates saying, hey, I would like to become a director one day. I would like to be managing people. Or I would like to become an expert in my craft. Or I just want to learn. I love to learn and I want to continue learning, and I don't feel I learn anymore in my current job. Very different motivations. And from that, this is where you know what you have to offer. You know what you can offer in the current job, you know what's possible in your organization or in your studio, and you know already at this point, is it going to be a match? I think it's a very important question to understand the really deep motivation of a person and be very transparent with them if that doesn't match with what you have in plan for your studio in the coming years. And then one question is about self-assessment. So what are your strengths and what are your areas of development? What are your weakest points? So through this question, I really like to ask that because I want to understand how people perceive themselves, how do they know about themselves, have they ever thought about their skills, their strengths. So I want to assess also through this question how much do they know themselves. And sometimes I have answers where people cannot even answer in detail about this question because they don't know their strengths, their weaknesses, and it shows that then, okay, they don't really know about their, in the profession, what makes them really strong and what they have to develop. So that's something to be aware of. And some other were really going into details, knowing exactly the area of development, why, giving concrete example. And it tells again a lot through this question. Team values. This question is about what is important for you in a team and what are your deal breakers. And I love this question because, again, through the answers of candidates, through what they say and how they say it, it also tells a lot. Do we have anything to say about a team? Sometimes very uninspiring answer. It's like, just a good team. And it's fine. But it just gives me a picture, an idea of how much a team is important, how much do they think about the team, and if so, what has been their experiences in the past, what do they value a lot. And a lot of answers I heard as well through interviews were about communication, for example, in a team, or how important it is to get along as friends, with a group. And it's things important to know and to note to make sure that the environment you're offering to the candidate, is it matching really what is their expectation? And the question about the deal breaker is also one to know what has been the negative experience, how did they deal with that, how did it affect them. So that for me as well, if we go further and we hire the person, I do my best and make sure that what traumatized the person in their past experience doesn't happen to them here. I really care about that. And let me share here, maybe more in details, my screening process with the questionnaire I usually use. So I'll share that as well at the end of the course through downloadables. But when usually I have a call, I have different sections where I have a screening checklist, I look at motivations, the values. I'm interested also in the hobbies of a person to understand just more of the overall picture. And as the interview goes, I look a bit into these different criteria that are important for me, that I mapped out, that are related to team values, as I've mentioned, and what is the soft skills necessary as well to integrate the team, and what are the motivations. And yeah, this is like my own personal scorecard that I keep for candidates to just understand about really what is where is the candidate, how are they going through the process, what are their values, and at the end to look at the whole picture. So this is more my personal spreadsheet, just for my own structure and remember about my conversation with the candidates.